I guess the question I had is like, how do you navigate all of that opinion and, all the stats that are out there, and does that affect what you post going forwards, or how do you sort of go around that?
Oh, it's such a good question, because the thing is, our business is LinkedIn. So we need to stay on top of everything that is happening. And we want to be also aware of like anything that is working, that is not working. How should you do it? Because we want to advise our clients in the best possible way. So I try to stay on top of like what's happening. How is the algorithm changing? And I do that by following other LinkedIn gurus, let's call them. I mean, I'm calling myself a LinkedIn guru as well, because we all want to be the first person to see if something is changing on the platform, if something is happening, if there's an announcement being made, etc. But that also leads to, you get so many different opinions on how to do something. So you then need to decide for yourself, is that the right strategy? Is that the right strategy? So what I try to do is I get a lot of influx in terms of how to do this, how to do that, how to post this. And I try to filter out what I believe makes the most sense. And then with the hype department, with my community, because it's all people that want to up level themselves on LinkedIn, what I like to consider myself is, I'm with them. I'm not there teaching them what to do. We all have the same goal, which is increasing our influence on LinkedIn. Yeah. But what I do is I try to be that person that is always on top of what is happening by looking at other people, and then also just filtering to my community what I personally believe makes the most sense. Yeah. But it can be so overwhelming seeing all the different strategies. And to be fair, sometimes I think like, oh, I should do this. And then next week I see this and I think, oh, I should do this. And then something you said is, how can you really trust some of the data? Because there are like people out there, they have like LinkedIn APIs and they analyze millions of posts. And then they say like, this is what the algorithm likes, because also nobody knows the algorithm like exactly. LinkedIn is protecting it, because obviously if they were to say this is exactly how it works, everyone would gamify it, like try to cheat it. So I then rely on those like state of the algorithm reports and like whatever people are putting out. And it's so funny because most of the time they put them out quarterly. Different people run their own like different analysis. When I look at them, the stats are different, even though they look at the same thing, but the results are different. And this just shows there's a saying in German, and I completely butcher it by trying to say it in English, but you should only trust a study that you haven't changed yourself, meaning you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. They all want to sell their own services, their own businesses. Of course, they analyze the data in a way that helps their narrative in the best way. Yeah. So it would be silly being that person just looking at this one creator, completely trusting what they're saying. You need to look at other people. But then someone that I'm helping, for example, with my community, their business is career coaching. Their business is not LinkedIn. So this is why we should take that responsibility of like, we look at different sources, we try to make sense of them, we try to filter down what is reputable, and then we help those people with like the filtered down insights. Again, long answer, apologies.
No, it's good. It's good to get that steer, because it's similar to you, and it's going back to the beginning. You mentioned you work for LinkedIn and people expect you to know how the algorithm works. You're the best person at posting on LinkedIn. What times are optimum to post to get the best engagement and so on. And the reality is that's not necessarily the case. And no. I was the same as you, right? Guilty of being at LinkedIn, and I'd post the corporate posts, but that's it. There's nothing really there around me, my personal brand, and it's something sort of I've learned as time's gone on. But yeah, there is a lot of, I don't want to say noise. There's a lot of opinion on what works best on LinkedIn, and sometimes that is difficult to navigate, I think. And take the parts which you think are relevant and real and live, and then the other parts that you think, well, actually, that's not built on anything tangible, or that's just a pure opinion, and there's nothing backing that opinion up. So I think it's becoming increasingly difficult to pick the nuggets out, I would say.
Exactly. I'm not sure if you're the same, but when I was still at LinkedIn and I was building my audience, I was going down a rabbit hole in our intranet, trying to find out everything about the algorithm. Yeah. Because I thought like, surely there must be like some sort of documents. I couldn't find anything. Yeah. I literally could not find anything. And then I tried to reach out to people, understand a bit more. Yeah. It's so hard. And exactly what you said, like a lot of people assume that we know how it all works. We don't. LinkedIn is very secretive around it because, again, of course, LinkedIn, 20,000 employees, something like this. If they were to publicly, internally say how the algorithm works, of course it would leak and would go out. So they have to be very careful about it. But then I think it is our responsibility as people who have worked at LinkedIn, as I said, like to be kind of like that filter and be like that authority in terms of saying this actually doesn't make sense. And one thing that I really want to hone down that people don't really understand is, how does LinkedIn actually make money? Like, how does LinkedIn's feed actually benefit them? Because LinkedIn is not a charity by all means. They want to sell products, which is fine, because those products also help other businesses and charities, etc., to make the world a better place. That's all good. Nothing wrong with that. But LinkedIn has their own goals. So obviously the feed is somewhat designed to help them sell their products in the long run. So what I always like to say, and feel free to challenge me on that, but I always like to say the feed is designed to solve business problems, to talk about business problems, to talk about hiring, management, sales, marketing, like all of those things, work related, which then LinkedIn software solutions can help answer some of those problems.
Yeah. And I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be naive. Like LinkedIn wants to make money as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Multi-billion-dollar organization built upon the data which exists on LinkedIn, right? And the LinkedIn feed is a key part of that, which funnels to those other solutions. And I think, being on the inside of LinkedIn gives you that appreciation of how that data powers those other solutions to provide value to other businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good.
I was a bit concerned at
No.
say, like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, can we please cut this out of the podcast?
Yeah, we'll take a cut there and then we'll edit it out. Yeah. The other thing I want to ask about, so obviously you've been a hype department going for like 4.5 months now. Obviously seeing good success, and we see the success stories on LinkedIn, which is great. What are your plans for the next 6 months for the hype department? Do you have any like ambitious goals that you want to get to written down, or is it you just take it every day at a time? Where are you on that journey?
You know what? I love goal setting. Every year I set my goals, and also when I was growing my own audience, I did that like public goal of saying like I grow to 10,000 followers in 90 days. Like I love goals. However, when I left LinkedIn and started my own business, I didn't set any goals because also I didn't know what I like to do, where it's going. It's really hard to set a goal on something that you are not sure about yourself yet. Yeah. So this is also when I look into the future. I don't have a particular goal, but what I do know is, and again, you might feel the same way, you might not. I have no idea if I'm alone in this, but being now on your own and building your own business is very frazzling at times, where I'm a one-woman show, meaning I need to make money. That means I work with clients. I'm in the delivery, I'm working in my business, but then I don't have time to work on my business in terms of how do I scale it? How can I get to the next level? How can I like make the time to prospect whilst I also have like those deadlines? Yeah. So I think for the future, what I would love is, and I mean, I'm very aware, I just need to figure out a way, is how can I reduce my time working in the business so I can work on my business. So I do want to scale. I have big goals, not like written down goals, but goals in the sense of I know I want to have a proper business, an agency. I don't want to be a solopreneur for the long term. Yeah. So now I just need to figure out how can I scale it all without working 24/7, because currently I feel like I'm working 24/7.
Yeah. And these are all things you do not realize when you work for a corporate, right? Because I remember seeing your post about, or your comment about crying into accountancy software, right? And that is that you're quite right. When we look at as a business our accountancy software and updating it, it's almost a bit of a chore for us to do it, and that takes you away from growing your business or you doing some strategy, and there's so many other things that you
and learning about it in the first place. I have no idea how the tax system works. Like in terms of, I didn't even know how it worked when I was an employee, but like let alone like having your own business, like how does it work? How do I pay myself? Where do I need to pay taxes? Like this is just takes so much headspace on top of everything else you're doing, just figuring out how to actually run a business. Because I've never done it before.
No. And I think one of the big things I realized was how well everything is set up for you as an employee. You walk in, you have a laptop, you have access to all your internal systems, you have CRM, you have all your software, you have your bag to carry everything around in, all your cables and connectors. when you're outside of that, it's up to you to do all that yourself.
And in a business, you can ask HR, you can ask payroll, you can ask your manager. There's always someone you can ask and get answers. On your own, you have to find the people that you can ask. And then also you need to find the people that you can trust, that you rely on. Because I started out with an accountant in the beginning, and they gave me like weird advice. And I already thought like, look, I have no idea about it. Sounds a bit strange, but hey, you're the expert. So I believed them. And then by chance, I was speaking to someone else and we were talking about this. And I said like, I think your accountant is giving you like strange advice. Go with like my accountant, etc. And then when I went with the other person, they were like, what the hell were they telling you? But now it's then also down to me. Do I trust the new accountant? Do I like, anyhow, but this is like, you are figuring it out, and you need to also go with your own instincts at times and thinking like, okay, this makes more sense to me. This is, yeah. And then fingers crossed, everything goes well with whatever advice you go with.
Yeah.
But we learn.
You do. And actually that's the follow-up question is, being out of that corporate environment for 4.5, 5 months or however long it's been, what have you learned about yourself? Because obviously it is a learning journey and you have to adapt. What have you taken away going solo?
It's a good question. I was always a very ambitious person. And I think that's why I always worked in sales, because I love like putting in the work and seeing the results and having like impact. And it is incredibly rewarding now doing it on your own, because the impact is like directly on you and your business, rather than, as we said earlier, like being a fish in a big sea. But I realized that this is actually truly me, because I wasn't sure if being in sales and basically being in sales is just something I got into and just stuck with it because it pays nicely. But actually I realized I enjoy doing this. Yeah. I recently spoke to someone about like, what do we enjoy about our business, etc. And they were saying like, oh yeah, I really love like the client delivery and doing this for them and that. And they said they hate the sales aspect. And then I was reflecting and thinking, I actually bloody love sales. And I also hate like the stigma of like the sleazy car salesman. I always think of selling as like helping people, and like nobody will give their money because you pressure them into it. Like literally it's an exchange. It's a partnership. They will give you the money because they hope to get something in return. So I have no issue with saying I'm in sales and saying that I love sales, but I realized I really love it. I could do sales 24/7 a day. I love it. So yeah, that's what I learned about myself.
That's good. It's good. It's such an important skill to have, right? I think,
and it's good to know that this is something you actually enjoy doing, because then you can hone down on that. And I can say I hate accounting, and that's why I hired a bookkeeper now.
I'll join you on that as well. Yeah, we were the same. And
how about you?
Go on.
What did you realize
since going solo? So I think, that's a good question. I think similar to you, I've always been in a sales environment. I've sort of fell into sales and stuck there. You can earn well. It's quite rewarding. The biggest part of my job that I enjoyed in any role that I've had is being out with a customer and understanding, well, what's broken, and then can I fix it? And are we the right people to fix it? And that's the part I loved. So I think it's helped me sort of go out and be. I'm confident to go out and speak to people and approach people and have sort of those conversations. I think one of the things that I've sort of learnt about is every day is a learning journey. And then maybe I didn't take that as seriously when I was at LinkedIn. Yes, there's opportunities to learn and upskill, and there's mandatory training you have to do. And you probably shouldn't say this, but you get your mandatory training and you just try and tick it off as quick as you can. Yes. Tick the boxes. Have you completed it? Have you watched everything? Yes, definitely I have. And
did you learn anything? Actually, no, but
yes, exactly.
10 out of 10.
No comments on it. Exactly. And then now I think I have a different lens on that to say, well, actually, I think that's really important, because I could learn stuff that I can now apply in a real live situation to my business, which is going to help, drive it forwards. So I've got a different view on digesting and learning things and then taking that out.
I love that, because we can always see like the big, like Stephen Bartlett's, Tony Robbins, etc. They always say like the most successful people are the ones that are hungry to learn. But now also working our own business, our time is so precious. And now I love learning, but I make sure I don't waste any time on learning something that doesn't bring me any value. I'm so ruthless with it.
Yeah. You have to be though, right? You have to be, because if not, then it's just a distraction. If not, but yeah.
I hated the mandatory training at work. Oh my God.
No more now.
Thank God.
Until you scale. The other thing I want to ask you about, so we're coming sort of towards the end, and we're going to do a quick fire question round to get your opinion. You have to answer just straight away whatever comes into your head, and we'll see what comes out of it. But if you were to provide 3 actionable tips that any person or business could take on LinkedIn today, what would those top 3 be? What would your top 3 recommendations be?
All right. I know this is supposed to be a quick fire round, but I need to give some explanation. I will try to keep it as short as possible.
This is the pre-quick fire.
Okay,
and then
good.
we're going to go into quick fire. So you have time. Don't worry. No rush.
Number 1 is to start showing up. Whether you're a leader or a company, you need to lead by example, showing up to then encourage your employees to show up, but just to do it and not to overthink it in terms of, is it cringe? Is it not? Like I always like to, I'm not sure if you've heard of it actually. It's called the cringe mountain. It's not, I would love to say it's my invention, but it isn't. I saw it somewhere, and it's basically saying like we all have to climb the cringe mountain, whether it's on LinkedIn or just like any other platform, like being seen, you're always scared at like what people are thinking, etc. But anyone who is climbing the cringe mountain with you, they will cheer you on, like they will support you along the way. And it's like basically you have to climb this mountain in order to get to like the land of desire, like whatever you want to achieve, you have to eat shit. This is what actually Alex Hormozi is saying, is also not my saying. And it's only the people stuck at base camp who will roll their eyes or question what it is that you're doing. Yeah. So why would you take their advice? This is not someone that you look up to. So first of all, ignore them. But then also, secondly, we are so obsessed with ourselves that we think whatever we are posting, people will remember, have like read in depth and analyze whatever. Like, if you scroll on your own LinkedIn, I can hardly remember what I saw. Even if there was a post where I thought like that was brilliant, I probably somewhat forgot about it, or I just remembered like one line or something.
Yeah.
So we overthink how much people are actually seeing us.
Yeah.
So just number 1 is putting yourself out there. And then the second is be yourself. Don't try to sound better or in a different way or whatever it might be. And also don't think you need to have it all figured out. You need to be a thought leader in order to share thought leadership expertise. Like share the behind the scenes, like say, I'm currently doing a marketing course. Here's what I'm learning. That builds the same amount of credibility as someone who says like, I have 20 years of experience in marketing and this is what I'm seeing. Like if you share what you're learning right now, that builds a lot of credibility. So you don't have to have it all figured out. And the third one, I haven't thought about it yet. Do you want to say another one?
Third one. I totally agree with your first 2.
Yeah.
So just turning up and actually being present and getting over the cringe. Third one from me.
Oh, I have one.
Go on. Go.
Is engaging.
Oh, yeah.
Posting content, I think, is 50% of the equation. The other 50% is engagement, because LinkedIn is not a type of platform where you can just, like, as they say, post and ghost. You need to like mobilize the audience. One, the algorithm does reward it. They will show your content more to people that you've recently been in touch with. But also in general, LinkedIn is like a gigantic networking platform. This is how you build relationships. This is how you actually have conversations. So send connection requests, meaningful ones, to the right people. Explain to them why you're connecting with them. Leave comments under their posts. Like this whole social selling aspect of, if you want to land a deal, engage with your ideal customers first, then send a connection request, meaningful, add value, then post content, and this is how you land the sale. So yes, if you start on LinkedIn, post content, but also don't forget to do engagement.
Yeah. I mean, top tip, right? And now you can see how many sort of impressions your comments get, right?
Yeah.
Which never used to be there.
Yeah.
Which just is another layer to show the importance of actually engaging authentically with people's posts.
Yeah.
So.
And it's crazy how quickly it can all happen. If I think back, earlier this year, people didn't know who I was. It's just crazy. Yesterday, I was at a conference. 2 people individually, separately from each other, came to me and asked me if I'm Alicia. And I was like, this is so fucking cool. It's so strange, but it's like, it can happen so fast if you put in the work. And to be fair, I was like, I'm on LinkedIn a lot of hours a day.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the capacity, wants to do it, etc. But if you really are keen to go all in, it will be so rewarding.
Yeah. And it shows it works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Great stuff.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Quick fire.
Okay.
We are just doing this for fun. So let's get your opinions on these. So the first one's a big one, actually. What is your biggest ick on LinkedIn? What do you see and you just think, ooh, gives you the shudders?
AI comments.
Okay.
I know we spoke about it earlier, but I think AI comments are just like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
In your spare time, how do you like to relax? So when you switch off, what do you like to do?
This sounds very snobby, but I love a sauna.
Oh.
I love to go to a sauna. I nicely live in a building. It pays. It costs so much fucking rent, but it is one of those things where I'm happy to spend money on because it has a sauna. And this is just because when it's so hot, you can't like read or like be on your phone or do something else, or sometimes even engage in a conversation. So you just sit there with your own thoughts. And I think this is just like, it's such a good feeling.
That's a totally different way of looking at a sauna, actually, switching off completely, right?
Yeah.
Just not having anything.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's good. Sun or snow?
Snow. I know most people will probably say sun. I'm not sure. But I just booked a skiing holiday, so I'm more like,
we'll go with snow. Dog or cat?
Dog. I have a dog myself, so imagine I would have said cat.
Oh,
No, I have a dog.
It'd be disowning you if you did. Hotel or Airbnb?
You know what? Again, like very snobby answer, but hotel. Because I don't want to, when I'm on holiday, I don't want to have to do the dishes. I don't want to have to cook. I just want to relax and let other people do that for me. That's why I'm on holiday.
I like it. What is one thing that you can't live without?
You know, the boring answer is my phone, which is a very like standard answer. But your phone is so much these days in terms of like, there's meditation apps, there's note-taking apps, there's the LinkedIn app, like there's everything if I don't have a phone. And luckily, I mean, we grew up in a time where there weren't any phones.
Yeah.
So we know life pre-phones.
Yes.
But now I think I couldn't live without a phone.
Got the phone. Good. If LinkedIn called you now and said, we're loving your work, we will double your salary and your package that you were on before if you'd come back and work for us now, what would you say?
No, thank you. Yeah. I mean, money is nice. LinkedIn, as we said, is a great company, but I want to have impact. And funnily enough, I interviewed for a role that was advertised at 450k base to 1.5 million OTE. Wow. And I saw that paycheck and I thought, let's apply. Let's see what happens. And I got the job, but I turned it down because I literally was thinking, I left LinkedIn to build my own legacy. No money in the world can take that away from me. Yes, I'm not at 450k, 1.5 million yet.
Yeah.
But I can get there myself. And I mean, money isn't everything. But like, that's where I thought, no, thank you. But also, I want to encourage people who are in a similar position. If their employer would come back and ask, like, do you want to come back? There is no shame in doing that. Like, some people think like, oh, I'm scared to start my own business because what if it doesn't work out and I go back into corporate? Will people think I'm a failure? You're not. If you realize that actually you do like the structure and you do like sitting with colleagues, like I'm so bored of my own company every day. Like I can see how someone says, actually, I want to go back into a corporate job, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. How about you? Would you go back?
Would I go back? No, not right now.
We should ask each other that question in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
Or like every 6 months and see.
And for exactly the same reasons, I'm at a point now, life stage wise, where I've got the ability to do something on my own or with my business partner. So, you know, if I don't do it, it will be that life of regret. What if? And I don't want to turn around in 5 years' time or 10 years' time when it's not a possibility to say, oh, I wish I did that. Do you know what I mean? So I think now is the right time for me to do it. I've got no desire to necessarily go back into corporate, but likewise, you know, if things didn't work out, I would have no qualms to go back because, you know, you learn so much working for yourself and all those skills. I think you can take back into a workplace and be a more rounded professional. So,
Also, it can also be the case that it does work out your own business. You might sell whatever business you have done, or you exit your business and then go back into corporate, because again, there might be different reasons. So yeah,
Exactly.
who knows? But
Yeah.
everyone is in different seasons and stages of their life. I actually recently spoke to someone who built an agency, successfully exited and went back into corporate, literally because they said, I'm now older and I just miss sharing my wisdom, sharing my advice, mentoring people in an environment that is supportive. And also they said, like, I don't want to hustle that much anymore. Like, running your own business, there is a lot of pressure, having like to pay employees, etc. They said their business was going well, but like that pressure, they said, like, I'm older now. I don't want to have that. I still want to be in business and do business. I don't want to retire. But yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And then the last question from me. So is there one brand, company, or individual that you would love to partner with? There's got to be someone or a company out there.
All right. Actually, I'm giving you a person and a company answer. I always say to people jokingly, but actually I'm very serious about this. I want to be like the female version of Stephen Bartlett.
Okay.
I want to, and this is why I would love to partner with Stephen Bartlett. I know there is a lot of like controversy around him, but I just love how innovative he is, how he is always trying new things and being a bit, as I said, like different to the norm.
Yeah.
And I want to be that person. So I would love to partner with him just to pick his brain. And then company-wise, I mean, Chanel, Hermes, like very, very happy with that.
Yeah.
But actually, now that I'm having a large following, I get brand partnership deals requests.
Yeah.
And I say no to most of them because I want to be authentic. Like, I literally want to tell my audience, this is a tool I'm genuinely using.
Yeah.
That's why I would recommend it. And a few of them have happened, which is great. But I love Notion. I use Notion for everything. And I know Notion does partnership deals. They haven't slipped into my DMs yet. So Notion, if you are listening, my DMs are open. That would be nice.
We'll tag them in the podcast so
Please.
they get the message.
Please.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Can I ask you the question as well? I would love to.
Oh, for me, individuals. Do you know what? I haven't thought far enough ahead to think, is there one particular person that I would love to collaborate with? So I'm going to have to bail on that answer because I think it requires a bit more thought from my side. You know, I've got to think back to what I'm passionate about, people who I admire,
Your values.
and there's a few. There's quite a few, right? But if I were to like giving it some thought at a really high level, someone who, I've had a background and an interest in cars and motorsports and stuff like that growing up, right? And one person I've always grown up with and admired is Lewis Hamilton.
Oh,
as an example,
he's
right?
brilliant.
So, he's just been, for someone to come into that environment and perform so successfully, consistently, year after year, I think it's phenomenal.
With a different background as well. Like, he didn't have it easy in life.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, he hasn't had everything laid out on the table for him. And I think that's amazing. It just goes to show that people can do it. You can do it. And if you're determined and if you work hard, good things happen. And I'd love to hear his story and if there's an opportunity to collaborate with someone like that. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
What an amazing person to be in the presence of.
I'm a big Formula One fan. My dad actually, in Germany, for those who haven't realized, I'm German. He used to swing the flags at the Hockenheimring. So when I was growing up, we always had to watch every Friday training, Saturday qualifying, Sunday the race. I grew up. But I was a big Michael Schumacher fan. I hope he's doing all right. He's still like unsure how he's doing. But also it's fascinating because when I was a kid, Lewis Hamilton was already like starting to drive, a kid, like teenager.
Yeah.
And he is still like around, and it's just, I love Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
But Schumacher, apologies, is still my number one, even though he is not racing anymore.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's the things he's done for the sport are like, unbelievable as well.
Yeah.
So what a person. And then brand to work with or company to work with. Again, it would have to be a car related, automotive related brand. That would be for me, right? And not necessarily one of the, the luxurious ones out there, like the Bugattis of the world.
I was just asking, will it be a German one?
Potentially,
German
I would be
recommend.
potentially, Porsche would probably be up there if I'm honest. Kind of Class C operation, good track record of building cars, good performance. So yeah, so a brand like that would be, top of the list, I would say.
Really cool. My dad, he used to work for Mercedes for 45 years in like the factory. He was on the same workstation for all of his life, never went anywhere else. I'm autistic, and now I learned about my dad. He is very much autistic. He was on the same desk, but he always drove a Mercedes. Obviously, you get like a bit of like employee discount. My first car was a BMW, and he was not happy.
I can imagine that didn't go down well.
No, he was not happy. But yeah, sorry, Dad.
Thank you so much for joining us. Like, really appreciate it. Amazing insights. So good to talk everything LinkedIn, and amazing how similar that we find things as well.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
All right.
That was episode 4 of the podcast with Alicia Teltz, chairwoman of the Hype department, sharing her stories from LinkedIn and also her incredible journey to date, 4.5 months in and growing a very successful business. If you liked this podcast, don't forget to follow and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next podcast.